Welcome back at 6:43 this morning. Kansas City is facing a record-setting year of violence. The city is on track to surpass the most homicides in a single year. Right now we stand at 145. The record is 153.
So tomorrow, city officials will introduce a comprehensive crime prevention framework, they call it, to try and slow down this trend that we're watching. So this morning, we're glad to be joined live by Kansas City Mayor Quinton Lucas to learn more about this plan. Mayor, thank you for your time this morning. This revolves around 4 pillars. I know you're announcing the full plan tomorrow. What can you tell us about those 4 pillars that are going to make this up?
Well, we can talk about first how this is really about collaboration. This is not a program just of the police department, just of the prosecutor's office, just of the mayor's office. It recognizes that all of us need to work together to address violent crime. The pillars we're looking at include prevention, intervention, enforcement, and reform. You need to make sure that from the very beginning of either a young person's life or anyone of the others, they're not picking up a gun to harm someone else. On the intervention side, you need to make sure that people see that there's an alternative if they're in a path towards crime. On enforcement, we have to make sure that those who are shooting our friends and neighbors are brought to justice, are arrested, and serve jail time. And then on the reform side, it's making sure that those who are parolees, for example, coming back home, have job opportunities, have a path ahead. And so we're saying that every part of city government is going to be working to address violent crime. We don't want to see records broken year after year, and I'm proud of so many for being a part of this effort.
Mayor, we know that you've been working on this for more than a year, about a year, since before the pandemic started. Now the city is facing intense potential budget cuts given the pandemic. We've heard KCPD is discussing the possibility of 400 layoffs. How does that impact fighting crime like this? What are you going to do with that?
Well, I'll just say this unequivocally. There is no chance that there will be 400 layoffs at the Kansas City Police Department. There will be budget issues in every city department. The finance department of the city and the manager's office have directed a budget exercise where everyone sees how they can make do on a 10% or 11% cut. That's the same thing we're seeing at our family dinner tables. That's the same thing we're seeing at private businesses. But I do not believe that in any way we're going to see that level of cut to personnel at KCPD. We will try to find administrative ways to save money. That's what everybody in suits at work at City Hall does each day. But we'll make sure that we can still deliver public safety to the people of Kansas City, both in the police department, fire department, public works, and everything that we do.
Mayor, you mentioned collaboration when we first brought you on this morning, and multiple departments, multiple pieces across the city taking part. But when it comes to collaborating with people who live in Kansas City, there's a fair amount of distrust from people who live in Kansas City at multiple levels of government, whether it be the police department, local elected officials. How do you involve people on a local level that are living in these neighborhoods, that are living with victims of crime, people who have lost people, that don't trust that anything's going to be done? You mentioned in your plan neighborhood walks. How do you involve people that really makes a difference and makes them feel like they're being collaborated with?
You keep talking to them. You keep working with them. You know, there is no panacea solution for anything, whether it be raising a child, addressing crime, curing some illness. It's every day, an everyday effort and every step of the way. And so what we plan to do is say very simply this: you may think certain things about the police department, you may think certain things about the mayor or the prosecutor's office. We're here to work with you. We're here to talk to you. We're here to make sure that your community is safer. That's why we're walking about neighborhoods. That's why we are making sure that we're engaged and involved. And one thing that I have always been interested in doing during my 13 and a half months as mayor is saying that I will talk to any crowd anywhere in Kansas City in order to make us safer, in order to make us a stronger city. This program is part of it, and it's going to include a lot of people. The health department, the police department. I think it's largely us saying, no matter your entry point for government, we're going to be there for you. And that's why this effort is so important. And another thing, we can never get used to an unconscionably high level of violent crime and homicides in our city. And this is just going to be another sign that we will not, and that we will keep fighting it along the way.
Looking at some of these measures, especially in the prevention section, something as simple as more lighting for a dark parking lot that could potentially be a place that harbors crime. Do you want people to rethink what a problem is they need to bring to this city?
You know, absolutely, actually. What I want people to rethink is how we can solve it. You know, if you say, how can I solve homicides in our city, and there are 146, then you might say, well, it's impossible. It's been this way for a long time. There's no way to change it. Lindsay, I know you're from this metro area, so we're all kind of used to hearing this sort of news. However, if you said, well, we can install lighting, we can work with conflict resolution in the neighborhood school, we can make sure that every park, right, has better access for young people playing there. We can make sure that there are more youth employment activities, particularly as we recover from COVID. Those are the sorts of things that people can do and people can buy into. You know, I get asked all the time from people throughout our region, Missouri and Kansas, who say, what can I do? I'm a business owner in Lenexa. What can I do to address violent crime in Kansas City? Well, we hope this program gives us that sort of path. And that's why we're doing, I think, such a significant effort to make sure everybody knows they can be a part of it.
Mr. Mayor, it sounds like you're wanting people who are not typically involved in this process to get more involved than they've ever been. Someone watching this morning who maybe lives in a high crime neighborhood or lives in a situation where they don't really know what they can do, but they've seen something that they wonder if they could do something about. What's the first step they can take? Do they call the mayor's office? Do they call the representative on the city council for where they live? What do they need to do if they want to actively take part in what you're describing?
You know, I think the first step is going to the nearest community center near you and seeing what types of programs they have nearby. I live on the Paseo. I know there's a community center near me that has a number of youth activities, including boxing. I don't box, but can I support it? Can I help them find young people? Can I donate, right? Those are the sorts of things that we're talking about building up. More specifically, though, if you want to be a part of this program in Kansas City, call 311. It's a very easy to remember number, or just look up the number for the mayor's office, and we will find a way to get anyone plugged in. And I don't care if you're watching from Emporia this morning. We know that this is a regional challenge. We are a region that grows together, and we can address it long term.
Mayor Quinton Lucas joining us live this morning. Mayor Lucas, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.